Hi, folks. I'm Jamie Hiles.
I'm Lydia Judy.
And I'm Derek.
Wow.
Derek just fell asleep for a little bit.
I have to think about that one?
No, I like to be casually late.
I see. Yeah. And this is Scream Bloody Movies, the podcast where we review a horror movie each week, go over the horror news, and Derek is fashionably late. If I have
That's
my
what I meant
withers,
to say, fashionably.
There it is. It's all right. You pick this movie, things happen. Things happen.
You know what? It does.
How are you guys doing today?
Doing good.
I'm like Nick Bakay. I'm living the dream.
Oh, my God. You're just full of it today. Full of something, I can tell you.
That's true.
That's good. I am also pretty good. I am ready to talk about today's movie because it's a film that we watched and we must discuss.
It's not the worst film that we've watched.
I didn't say that. I said it's a movie that we watched. That's what I said.
I know, but you had a tone about you, like.
Was there a tone? Did you detect a tone? I don't know where that came from. I don't know. We'll see how this episode shakes out. You know, maybe I'm spelling it out for you right now. But before we get into the pros and cons of David in his Witchboard ways, let's get into the horror news. Guys, this first bit of horror news is super exciting. So, they've announced, and we have the first picture of, remember the Godzilla TV show that we've been kind of teasing for Apple Plus?
I think so.
We've got a name for it now. It is now called Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. It stars Kurt Russell. And we have a first image from it. And it's this fucking beautiful picture.
Did you say Kurt Russell?
Kurt Russell is in this thing.
What?
That is Godzilla from the new one.
Whoa, he looks cool.
There's Kurt.
There he is.
There he is.
Wyatt Russell, his son, is in this show.
That's cool.
Anna Sawai. And it is on its way out. It will be out. It premieres a 10-episode premiere, or a 10-episode series. And let me see if I can get the premiere date here. It is coming very soon. It doesn't tell me the date, but it should be here very soon. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Does that make you more excited for it, seeing these images?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm a little surprised by the cast, but that's a pleasant surprise. So,
yeah, and I didn't know what we were gonna get in terms of Godzilla, because I knew that it's a Monarch show, but we're getting a big G in full movie quality, so that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So this is interesting. You guys liked Prey. Well, Lydia, you did. Derek has not seen it yet.
Definitely.
Well, Prey is now finally coming to 4K and Blu-ray for us physical media people. Finally. It's only been able to watch on Hulu this entire time, but on October 3rd, it is getting a Steelbook Blu-ray in 4K release. So that's great news. I want everything to always be available on physical media, because then it can exist, you see. Then you own it. It's yours. If it's digital, it can go away. If it's yours, it's yours. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have to talk about that movie too.
Oh, we will. We have to get through 3 other Predator movies, I think, before we get there.
Damn it, Jamie.
All of varying quality.
Yeah.
It's like a valley.
It really is. It really is. So this is interesting news for the future. This will be relevant by the end of this episode. I mean, we'll just put it out there now. But, Warner Brothers has Gary Doberman's adaptation of Salem's Lot just sitting on the shelf. It's been completed since 2021, and it still has not been released and has been pulled from the schedule.
Really?
Yeah, what do we make of this?
I mean, I would read a negative into that it was, they'd rather take the, probably the tax write-off than release it. That's what it sounds like.
Well, here's what I am reading is that they're going to, it's going to be released. It just hasn't yet. Like, it keeps being delayed. It was supposed to be out in April, but Evil Dead Rise took its spot. Because Evil Dead Rise was originally supposed to be released direct to Max. But they saw the movie and they're like, holy shit, this is really good. I bet you this will play well in theaters. And it made over $100 million. So, smart decision. Smart decision. But according to test screenings, it's tested really well. It's had reshoots and such. But here's the weird thing. It's only 113 minutes long. I don't know about that.
It's a stark contrast to a movie that may or may not pop up here.
Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on this?
Yeah, that's... I'm really curious. Like, maybe there's something that's, like, stopping them. Like, I don't know.
Maybe they're just waiting for the right time.
Insensitive. Maybe they're waiting for the right time.
Yeah, I mean...
The fact that it's so short is definitely...
kind of a red flag, right?
Could be.
Now, you know me, I'm usually for horror movies being 88 to 90 minutes long, but not when it's like a movie like Salem's Lot.
Right.
It needs a lot of room to breathe. Derek, this is news for you, and Lydia, you're just going to be along for this ride. But this is some wrestling news. AEW had a Texas death match, a Texas Chainsaw death match, and you guys, fucking Leatherface interfered in this match.
What?
Look at this!
Oh my gosh. How scared shitless would you be if he came running at you in the ring?
Oh my god. It is the silliest thing I could possibly think of, is when movie characters cross into professional wrestling. Is too much for me. Like, for real people.
Yeah. Oh, that would be fun. That would get me into watching wrestling for sure.
I mean, wow. I don't know. I don't even know what to say about that, honestly. You know what? If they've went that far, they should just introduce Jason Voorhees. I should just do it.
Well, this was in promotion with Warner Brothers. This was a promotion for the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game that came out on Friday. So this was,
nice.
A promo for the game. But this is like this is kind of a tradition in professional wrestling every once in a while. In 1990, RoboCop helped Sting win a match. That was the thing that happened.
Dude, didn't Freddy Krueger make an appearance in the wrestling ring?
No, but Chucky did.
No, dude, I'm telling you. I just watched something where...
Chucky was on WCW on the TV making fun of Rick Steiner. Like, they were arguing. Like, what is going on? Why are you arguing with a fictional character? What is this? What even is this?
Like, did it sound like Chucky?
Oh, it was the doll. It was Chucky. It was Brad Dourif
was it like
doing the voice of Chucky. Yeah, doing these lines to Rick Steiner, and he's like, "I'm gonna." And the best part is it was a taped, like Chucky's part was taped, So they had to get the timing right, and it just wasn't. Like, he'd be like, I'm telling you, well, and they're like talking over each other. It's fucking terrible.
Oh no.
And then in this,
That's wild.
Leatherface came down and pushed some people while holding a fake chainsaw. You know, as he does.
Dude.
Also, what's really funny is he's the face in this whole thing.
No, dude, I was right. Now this is this is an ECW in 1993.
Oh,
They had Freddy Krueger come down. This is some. Is that Lou Albana? Maybe.
Probably. I don't know. I can't see it.
I'm watching part of it, man. It's oh my god. This is probably like the worst decision that anybody ever made, but that's crazy.
Yeah. So Leatherface is now canonically in AEW, so that's interesting. One of the cheesiest things I've seen in the history of my life.
Telling you, man, just do it, Jason. Where are you at?
And finally, we have the first picture and such for the remake of The Toxic Avenger, starring Peter Dinklage.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the logo.
Nice.
The new logo. Looks nice, right?
Yeah.
And then right there is the picture that we have of Toxie. Not much, but that's what we have. Now, what do you guys think?
Is he the Toxic Avenger?
It kind of looks like he's Toxie, right?
It does.
Which is interesting. What do you guys think of that?
Dude, yeah, I don't know, man. I love Peter Dinklage, but
I'm super curious. I never really got into the older ones, so it's like it's hard for me to say if that's.
Well, the story is the same. It's the same story. Peter Dinklage stars as downtrodden janitor Winston Goose, who, after falling into a vat of toxic waste, becomes none other than a Toxic Avenger. And this, so he fights off corruption, basically. But, so it's the same story. But in the original, like, he's like this scrawny, geeky kid, falls into the vat of chemicals, and then he's like a giant monster when he comes out. So it'll be interesting if Peter Dinklage stays Dinklage size, just mutated like the Toxic Avenger. So we'll see. What are you guys' thoughts? What are your thoughts, Derek? Because I see you have some.
I'm excited about the people who are attached to this project. I don't know how that aspect of it would play if that's the route that they take. I am interested to see a new adaptation of that property, so I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I mean, it also has, don't forget, Elijah Wood, Julia Davis, Kevin Bacon, and Jacob Tremblay are all attached to it as well. So, I mean, this is like an all-star cast. This isn't like some podunk little shit. This is good. This is big time.
Yeah.
Those people at Trauma, man, they have some connections.
Trauma knows best. Yep.
Dang it, I was so close.
Samsonite. I was way off.
Trauma. I knew it was
that
trauma,
wraps
trauma.
up horror news. Speaking of trauma, sometimes you'll get that after you watch certain movies. Let's speak about Witchboard.
I see how it is.
So this week, Derek picked the 1980s flick, Witchboard, 1986. This movie came out the year I was born. And it is a Kevin S. Tenney movie. This is the second Kevin S. Tenney movie we've done on the podcast. The first one was Night of the Demons. He was the writer-director of Night of the Demons as well.
Night of the Demons. Is that the one with the...
That's a lipstick boob one.
That I was going to say.
Yeah, that's the most memorable scene.
Wait,
yeah.
I shouldn't describe it as the lipstick boob one, but then there it is. You just...
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, that was Night of the Demons. This is the same writer-director. And it stars Todd Allen, Tawny Katane, Stephen Nichols. So, Derek, you picked this one. This is not your first time seeing this movie.
So it's not my first time watching this movie, but it might as well be. There's only one scene from this movie that I vividly remember.
Which one it is.
It was not the shower scene, okay? It was not the shower scene. And when we get to it, I'll mention it. But it was not the shower scene.
So you didn't remember most of this movie?
No, I did not.
Yeah.
Basic premise, and only one detail of the entire thing.
Lydia, is this the first time you've seen this movie?
Yes, it is. This movie has never been on my radar, as far as I'm aware.
There's a reason. It's just not a very popular movie, is what I'm saying. It is being remade, so it might gain popularity. But yeah, this is not the first time I have seen this either. But like you, Derek, I only remembered a few things too. The thing I remembered the most was that effect at the end with the Ouija board. That's what stuck in my head. And the villain. Like, I remembered him. But everything else, like, I'm going through this thing, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't remember any of this, really. So almost was like a first watch for me as well.
Well, I mean, so this movie came out in 86, right?
86, yeah.
I was 3. I probably saw this movie in the mid-90s.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's been
100%
a long
when I
time.
saw it. 100% was early mid-90s when I saw it.
Yeah.
I rented it probably from the video store. Or saw it on like HBO or something. But I remembered the special effect with the Ouija board at the end and the villain, the way he looked. And everything else, I was like, as soon as I saw Tawny Katane, I was like, oh yeah, Tawny Katane's in this. Completely forgot. So where do you guys want to start with this guy? Because like, we can just, free flow, whatever you want to talk about. Want to talk about Tawny Katane first? She's
yes,
gorgeous
and
in this movie.
Oh man,
what?
Yeah.
Who is she?
Tawny Katane. She's an actress. You've seen her in tons of movies.
Let's see.
She
She's been in
most known
Bachelor Party.
for Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. She's known for. I think that's probably the only one that you know her for. She's in a bunch of like other lower budget movies and a lot of TV series. She's in
I assumed
Seinfeld.
she was like a model or something.
She was, yes. She was.
Yeah, she was beautiful in this movie.
Yeah, she was.
Oh, she was
modeling
actually in
television
Hercules: The Legendary Journey.
She was.
Yeah.
She was also on the cover of Rat's album. The album for Rat, the Out of the Cellar.
Okay. Yeah.
The metal album. She's on the cover of it, of Out of the Cellar.
Nice.
So yeah, she plays this ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend of Jim. She's Jim's current girlfriend, and what's the other guy's name? I freaking forget it. Brandon? Yeah, so Jim and Brandon. So she is Brandon's ex-girlfriend, Jim's current girlfriend. And guys, what do you think of the actor that plays Jim?
Plays Jim. He grew on me, man. He grew on me like a fungus.
Yeah. I definitely, at the beginning of this movie, I was like, these guys suck.
Well, kind of all of both, they're kind of unlikable.
Yeah.
The characters
I was
are kind
like,
of unlikable.
they're both just jerks, and I don't know who to like. Who am I supposed to like? I don't know. I like the girl.
Jim,
that's it.
The character of Jim is all right. Here's one of my theories is that the actor that plays Jim, Todd Allen, he is the board in Witchboard.
He definitely has one of those personalities.
Because he is wooden.
Sure.
But that's supposed to be his character. Some of it is.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to not emote.
Yeah.
Like he's supposed to be like, I just don't know how to love.
Yeah, I was like,
all
he's
right.
the killer. I was like, is he the killer? Because
you damn sociopath.
when his friend was like, I've never seen him happy or ever love anything. I was like, wait, what?
Dude,
ever?
His friend also, Brandon, he's got the fucking deadliest hair.
I love it. He's my favorite, honestly.
He's my favorite character too. And what's funny is when you first meet him, you just think that he's like an 80s bully. He's like an 80s bully.
Yes. Yes.
That's 100% how he's dressed and how he's presented.
And how he talks.
Dude, the opening of this movie, the first 10, 15 minutes, is just like, I don't like, these are all assholes. I don't like any of these people.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and they develop the backstory between these two, but at first you're just like, man, they're just kind of You're right. They're just kind of assholes. And then you're like, why was she with that guy? And why is she with this guy?
Yes.
It's interesting.
It's really weird. And this setup to this movie it's special because he's like, oh, this is a Ouija board.
Not Ouija.
Yes, no. Yeah, Ouija.
Not Ouija.
He tells us about it. And then he's like, I've been communicating with... He's like, I'm an atheist, but I also believe in spirits. You're like, what? Okay, sure. We'll go along with this ride. I've been communicating with this spirit, a young boy named David. We talk all the time. Like, kind of a red flag guy. Kind of a red flag. Talking to dead kids.
That's mean. That's, Haley Joel Osment did it, although he was a kid.
He was a child.
I'm going to forgive him for that.
So...
Yeah. The way that he was acting, too, I was like, is that how I am at parties?
Oh, Lydia, you can't be that bad. That guy was next level.
Like, I'm just, like, crazy. Giving off too much information about, like... I remember one time we had a house party, and I just went off about Dracula for, like, an hour, and I was like, I have no fun.
Were you intoxicated when you when you went on your soapbox? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But, it happens.
Well, Brandon...
I was once at a party. It wasn't mine. Yeah. Well, I was once at a party that wasn't mine, and I kept calling this kid McLovin.
Oh, no.
I was a jerk.
Well, it's not a party if you don't have a McLovin there,
Well, that's Brandon doesn't drink because, you see, to get the strongest connection is if somebody's not drinking or not smoking. Brandon doesn't smoke, and he currently wasn't drinking. And, of course, Lisa doesn't do either of those things. So he's like, yes, you must come
Linda.
here. Linda, that's it. You must come and put the board on both of our laps. Like, come on, dude, be a little less transparent, guy.
It's pretty funny, too, because, he brings it up again later, and he's like, yeah, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, it's like, I'm thinking that was a play the whole time there, Brandon. So we get this scene of him, like, communicating, and Jim's just being an asshole, but he's not really being an uber asshole. Not enough for this spirit to get as mad as he does. He's just like, he hates you, Jim. He slashed my tires.
Well, and he's like taking, and if you're a semi-inebriated person at a party and you have some conflict with somebody and you're not a believer in something like that and it's going on, there's a good chance you're going to make fun of that situation and the person doing it.
Dude, there's 100% had no problem with him making fun of them. Of course.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
that poor spirit must have never been to a party. He's only 8.
Apparently, because he just got he hadn't. He's only 11, right? 10. Only 10. The best is when he first logs into the spirit world, and he's like, how old are you, David? 9. He's like, okay, goodbye. That wasn't David. We have a secret code. And then he's like, the figure 8. That's our secret code. And you're like, well, now the spirit world knows what your secret code is. And sure enough, that's 100% what happens. After this party, pops the door, pops the window, he leaves the Ouija board there, and
Yeah, I did think it was kind of fascinating, though, too, at the same time, because it's like, I don't know, I guess it's because, like, watching similar kind of movies today, you're, like, suspicious of everything, so you're trying to think of every angle of, like, how this could be playing out, but it really is just straightforward, like, he's being honest about everything, which is crazy.
No, well, here's the thing. There's actually a more interesting movie here if they would have made a choice that I early on. So, like, if they would have went with this pregnancy angle that they start down. They start down this path that she's pregnant. If they would have went down the path that Brandon was in with this spirit to take over the child or something, that would have been very interesting. But
Like
instead,
if Brandon was evil?
Yeah. But we don't get...
Because he seemed evil?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we get a straightforward, movie, which is fine. I mean, in theory, it's fine. In theory, it's fine.
Yeah. It's not like completely straightforward, but it is like, like the characters who should be like lying and deceitful and like making you question everything, like, are just not. They're just totally
we get, like,
being serious.
Yeah, we get some interesting characters. So after she contacts the spirit, who she thinks is David, and starts like, just little things happening, and then she's like, I still hate, I still hate him. Jim must, he's a bastard. And then we cut to the construction scene, and we see his friend, who is super annoying, by the way. Another thing I got to add about this movie:
man.
Tons of annoying characters, like just
those. I think you mean '80s characters.
Yeah, but like annoying ass '80s characters, like even worse than usual.
Yeah,
I didn't
what's
mind.
really funny-
His friend was Lloyd, right? The
Lloyd.
long-haired guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't mind Lloyd. He was just
kinda
an
funny.
average dude. Just
He was
hanging out.
annoying, right, Lydia? He was annoying.
You know, the one thing that
he's
did
kinda funny.
like kind of annoy me about this movie was that like this is the point where you get a little bit more of the backstory between Brandon and Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And like he's like, yeah, I was in med school and all this other stuff, and I'm like, you were in med school? Come on, like
Yeah.
that was the farthest thing from what
Really?
I expected. I'm like, nah, I don't think so.
Bridge too far for
But
me
anyway.
to cross with my believability.
Yeah.
No, so this first kill is actually pretty good because there's a pretty good misdirect. We see the axe missing, the hammer axe, and you think that he's going to be killed with the axe, but instead they drop the sheetrock on him. That was cut with the axe.
That totally got me.
That was pretty good. I actually like that. Yeah, I was like, huh. And then
I was so shocked. I was freaked out. I was like, oh my god.
I was like, hey, I'm ready to go on this ride. And then the ride goes, and does this for about 25 minutes.
It did drag for a little bit, I won't lie.
A glacial pace is what I would call it, the pacing of this movie. A glacial pace. There's this
Whatever, I
section
feel
here.
like they, we're building suspense. And, developing characters.
But were they? In theory,
Yeah, I
that's
guess-
what they would be doing with this time. Correct.
Right.
In execution, debatable.
What, by the time we get to, like, kind of the third act, I'm, like, rooting for the two main, guy characters to, like...
Yeah, I am by the third act, too. The second act of this movie is just atrocious to me. It's just a slog. Like, there's a lot of nothing happening. We get this cop character that does nothing, really. He's there to talk about magic.
He's weird. Yeah, that's a weird character.
Yeah, look at this, man. Yeah, you see? But I really didn't tear off my thumb. It was a misdirect, you murdering son of a bitch.
And then he just shows up with like 5 lemons. He's just eating them or something.
At the hospital?
Yeah. That cut where they show him in the car eating a lemon with like 5 lemons on the dashboard. I was like, who the hell was that? And Jake was like, I think that was the detective.
And the fact that he's just sitting outside and he's just like looking out the window. Yeah, the cops still there. Just trailing me. So they the fact that he just immediately suspected Jim but there's really no evidence to even suspect him.
Well, besides the weapon of...
Yeah, the weapon's missing, but there's really no motive. There's no, it's beyond circumstantial. If he would have... That's why he didn't arrest him, because it's like, there's nothing there.
Well, and the funniest thing ever was when he was like... And this is skipping ahead just a little, but when the psychic dies...
Oh. We'll get to
And he
God.
no, I don't want to talk about that, but I just want to say he says that the axe matches the marks on the rope.
Marks. Yeah. I don't know
Like, what?
how the forensic files were in 1986, guy.
I don't think you'd be able to compare those very well.
No, probably not. Unless there's fibers on the axe still that match the rope. They can match those. But the cut marks matched exactly of that of a sharp object.
Yeah.
Yep. Got me on that one.
Those hammer axes were crazy, though, right?
Why would you ever have that? That's
That's the worst idea.
yeah, terrible.
Man,
combination.
I've watched some carpenter videos where they use them pretty handily, and
Well, yeah, but I
can see it.
personally would rather have a hammer and an axe because you don't want to accidentally stab your buddy with an axe. Come on.
Right?
Oh, or
Chop
like,
your
hit yourself
face.
in the
Hit
head with
yourself
that
in the face,
thing.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Or have it
I
turn around
agree
and
with
accidentally
that.
chop off your finger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, before old boy got the lumber dropped on him, him just throwing an axe at his buddy's head.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Again, Lloyd is the worst. He got what he deserved. What a weirdo.
Man, he was either the worst or a world-class axe thrower. Those are the two options.
Yeah. Which
He's either
they just
your
didn't.
worst friend
The best part
Yeah.
is he's like,
or crazy skill.
got me, old Lloyd. It's like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? I've been like,
Like,
what the fuck is wrong with you? You know?
Yeah, for sure.
There might have been motive then because I would have beat old Lloyd's ass right there.
Yeah, there's your motive right there.
Yeah.
He threw an axe at my head. He almost killed me.
So,
Yeah. You tried to
this
murder
middle
me
section.
first.
Middle section, it's just her messing with the board, and little spooky things are happening throughout the house. And then she gets knocked unconscious. And
Gets
before she
thrashed.
gets knocked unconscious, they decide. Brandon's like, "Wait a minute, is she having these mood swings and all these things?" And she's like, "Well, she's pregnant." It's like, I think the board is starting to possess her, and because Brandon is like the expert on this for some reason, he's like, it's called transcendence, and he goes through all this stuff, and of course Jim reacts like most people would. Okay. And then he goes home and she's acting really weird, so he's like, yeah, okay, you know what? Because she gets the call because she got attacked in the house by the ghost, and she's at the neighbor's house.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, okay, you can come over. And then we get this psychic character. The most annoying character in the movie.
Zarabeth.
That is capital A acting there, guys.
I mean,
Wow,
that's
a
this actress,
choice.
I've seen her in other movies. She
That's
was in
this-
Roadhouse.
Yes, but this character is a choice. Like,
It was a bit over the top. A little bit of psychic humor.
I was like, dude, every time she came on the screen, I was like, oh, I can't do it. I have to cover my ears. It's too much. It's just too much. What are your guys' thoughts?
What was that acronym? TFLO or Ta-Ta for now?
TFFN. Ta-ta for now.
TTFN.
Yep.
That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in a movie.
Oh, people
think
say
ever.
that in real life is the worst.
Do they? You know someone?
Yeah, I've heard people say that.
I'm a
before.
jerk. I've never heard anybody say that, and probably a good
No,
thing
you
because I
just-
would hate to
You
put my
just
foot
keep
in my
better
mouth.
company.
That is probably true.
I say
No,
BRB.
TTFN. I'm going to say that to Quincy and see what she says. TTFN, Q.
That would be excellent. And she'd be like, little psychic humor. Right afterwards. Lydia, what are your thoughts on Zarabeth? I like the character in principle. I do not like the character in execution.
I don't know. I thought she was interesting. Yeah, she was definitely like way over the top, for sure.
Like in a completely different movie.
Yeah. But it was kind of fun to watch that interaction with what's his name?
Brandon,
Okay, there's Brandon, and what's the other one?
Jim.
And Jim.
Jim. Okay, so Brandon, because Brandon is so like, just monotone like the whole time, and the only time, like the first time you see him laugh is like to like ease her, like, you know, just kind of like, he like gives her a laugh when she makes everyone else feel so awkward because everyone's like staring at her.
Really awkward because like she's a super powerful medium. I'm like,
yeah,
but is she? Because she gets bitched out in the very next scene. Not very powerful, but she has the right to. She can exercise you, you know. So we have this seance scene, and what do you guys think of this seance scene? Because it is,
it's fine. Like I said, I think the most interesting about it is just their interactions together still, because I'm like, okay, so there's so much tension between these two guys who used to be best friends, who are kind of in love with the same girl, and then the girl is just like in her own damn world, you know, like
obsessed with this Ouija board.
Yes, and she's just looking at this psychic like, who is this person in my house right now?
So Jamie, I think you like nailed it. So in principle, I think it's a really cool concept to have this super quirky medium, right? But man, the execution was a little out of character. I agree.
Yeah, it's a little too much. Little too much. And I mean, especially so like they do the whole thing and exorcise David from the house. He says he'll just leave so he does not exercise. That talks through the psychic. Then Zarabeth stands up and she's just kind of like, I'm having a vision of me traveling down the freeway. You taking me home. Tubular. You know, forgiveness is divine, but never pay full price for late pizza. She goes full Michelangelo.
30 seconds.
She's
Pizza
over the
Dude's
top.
got 30 seconds. But yeah, I mean, so she leaves and immediately gets killed the next scene. What do you guys think of her death scene?
I thought it was fine. It was like, it was weird because I'm like, okay, this ghost can just like, is she
do
seeing
whatever
it?
now?
Like, for one, is she seeing it? And also, like, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, so she's seeing it. It can just do whatever now. So what does it even need to, you know? Yeah, you're right. And it's like, the rules just don't really make sense with it.
Yeah. And you know what else didn't make sense?
What?
The cans.
Yeah, you're right. The cans.
Well, when she got there and she was like, you did exactly what I told you to do, setting this place up. And I'm like, by building a pyramid of cans?
Yeah. Her line there was really funny, though. I did like that line. But I was like, why else would that be there except for to, like, have something get knocked over?
It's 100% it's there for our benefit, the audience's benefit.
Yeah.
It's there specifically so we can show that a spirit left the house. Like, knocked over those cans! Must be the spirit. Yeah. You're right. That is weird. Yeah, her death scene's fine. She gets impaled on that fence after being attacked forward.
That's a sundial.
The sundial. And you saw the sundial first, and you're like,
dude. As soon as you see it, you know she's falling into it. As soon as you see it.
So
like,
for
like,
the misdirect that they gave, for the misdirect that they gave for the axe, they were like, we're gonna make this super obvious.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't shocking at all when she fell on it. It's like, saw that from 10 miles away.
Yep. Then she falls out of the window forward, of course, to get impaled on the sundial. And then old Brandon hears on the news, he's like, he wakes up in perfect timing, and he's like, this local psychic that goes by the name of Zarabeth. And he's like, what? I must speak to Jim. We get Derek's favorite scene, the shower scene. Happens next, where she's attacked in the shower.
I mean,
it does kind of you're kind of like this, and you're like, oh, something's happening. Because
I was shocked. I was like, this movie has been like PG-13 for the most part. Like, and I was like,
they had to throw some nudity in there to get that R rating, baby. Pretty much.
So this was after she was released from the hospital, right?
No.
I think it was,
released
because they're on their trip at this point.
When she's attacked in the... Well, no, I think the shower happens first. Isn't that what puts her in the hospital?
Right, because she gets kind of like thrown around.
Yeah, she gets thrown around. And then...
I can't remember, honestly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happens.
So the reason why I mentioned that...
No, Jim wasn't there. She gets thrown around, and she's
I know that he wasn't there in the shower scene.
Yeah. Maybe you're right. You are right. She gets thrown around before that, and he finds her unconscious on the bed and picks her up and is like,
with the landlord,
real serious. Call the doctor. And then they go, and then he's like, what about the baby? And she's like, there is no baby. And he's like,
yeah.
But she said, well, the board said, essentially. That's a scene where we were talking about where the cop's just sitting in the fucking waiting room. For some reason.
Yeah.
He's just at the waiting room.
Yeah, so I don't want to miss this part because this was the only scene of this movie that I remember. Like, I was waiting for this scene the entire movie of her getting up and walking through the hospital halls, and then walking around the corner to the nurse's station, and then turn around and gets decapitated.
Oh,
the only scene I remembered from when I was a kid watching this movie. I was just waiting for it to happen, and at some point I was like, maybe that was in the second one.
Yeah, nope, it's this one. Because she's starting to. This is after. So our boys team up. They decide to team up and go out of town to, I guess, research this at David's
Big Bear. Yeah, because he had mentioned that.
Because that's where he died.
Knew where David died. Yeah.
So they go there on a little Hardy Boys adventure, essentially, to try to figure this out. And while they're there, she has this dream and then releases herself in the hospital. And this is when we start to find out who the killer is. It's not David. But this little bonding trip between them is actually pretty nice. This is the one part of the movie that I actually did like, because it's nice seeing them bond again. These two friends coming back together. It also kind of there's a lot of just filler to stretch the runtime, because they do walk around that cemetery for 25 minutes. I feel like.
I mean, it was dark. It's hard to read.
Yeah, I guess. But he's like, Jim. So I don't know what the point of their parents. Or his parents being dead the same day. It was I don't think that they ever connected that dot. You're right. It was just kind of there, right?
Yeah, because he's look at the date on he died 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, the exact same
maybe
day
it wasn't a coincidence.
David died. Yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
what?
Even though those headstones were clearly at least 20 years old.
It's fine.
Do those headstones look old?
Yeah, it was a
pre-weather them so that they
it was a rough couple of weeks weather-wise.
We want the used one over there. You just need to sketch out the last name and put ours.
Write a new inscription on it. It's fine.
Discount sale.
They didn't pay their plot fee. So they were evicted. But there's that scene in the hotel where they're talking, which is, okay. Pretty nice. Them bonding, rebonding, talking about what drove them apart. Kind of having a heart to heart. There is that. The most cringe part is when they both laugh at that super unfunny joke, super hard. Do you remember it?
Which one about him being lousy? The bed,
lousy
in bed one.
Yeah.
Oh no! He's like, funny. Yeah, she likes me because I'm funny. He's like, I was funny. Yeah, in the sack.
Yeah,
or bed or something like that. Yeah.
Which is a little chuckle, but then they're like, and you're like, okay, I'm like, cool. They think it's funny. That's cute, but then it goes on. The laugh scene lasts way too long, and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, and to kind of give their backstory, which is I think kind of an important part about this. So Jim came from a household that was some trauma happened, and and so he's had a lot of trauma in his young life, and then he pretty much lived with Brandon and his family. It sounds like, kind of like for a long period of time he stayed with them, and so they were really, really close. And then, this thing happened with Linda, and so he's holding a grudge.
Well, it's not even that simple, because Jim went away, and he didn't see him for a long time. And then Jim came back, and Linda and Brandon broke up. And Jim had no idea and started dating Linda.
Yeah,
and then it caused
I didn't even know that they knew each other.
Yeah, and it caused this rift between them even more, because it was already there because he had moved away and left.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
and the stuff with him, like, not even sure if he loves her, is super heavy.
It is. It doesn't belong in this movie.
That is.
But yeah, it
I
is.
agree with you, Lydia.
And we have the arc. We have the arc of him realize, which is funny because it's given away early. He does, because of all the stuff he's doing for her. It's like, you love her, you're just not allowing yourself to admit it.
Well, it was kind of like Patrick Swayze in Ghost. I love you. Ditto.
Oh yeah, I love that. Love it.
Or more famously, Han Solo from Empire Strikes Back.
Han Solo, yeah.
It's Han Solo.
Exactly.
Because he literally says,
I know.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if you're a Star Wars person.
That was my first thought too. I was like, okay, Han Solo.
Yeah, that's 100%. Yeah, you're like, all right, Han.
Oh, I'm sure they stole it from that, yeah.
But I definitely, I don't know if this was, like, intentional for the movie, but I was kind of thinking that he was the killer. I was like, he is doing all of this. Like, it was his axe. Like, it was his axe. I was like, we don't know that he just, like, went up there and left it.
It could have been
all these things kind of added up. It would have been
it would have been a good twist, and it could have been even a good misdirect if they would have played that red herring up more. But we just have the cop there, basically.
For so many reasons.
The cop's there solely for the gun to be there at the end. But, so they go to the lake, Brandon and Jim, and they contact the real David. And they hear about Malifor. Isn't that what they call him? Malifor? Is that it?
I don't even know what they were saying.
It was something like that.
Malfeitor. Malfeitor. It's Malfeitor. Because and the spirits,
Malfeitor, I think. It's
Malfeitor. Yeah, they start talking to him, or they start talking to David, and he says that, and then he's like, trying to say he's here. Which again, we don't understand how the rules work. And he cuts. He's just carrying around this hammer axe somehow in the ether. And cuts these barrels down, and we get this cheesy slow motion, like it's from an Incredible Hulk episode, falling into the water. Derek, you're muted. You're muted. You made it 2 weeks.
Man, that's the first time in like forever.
Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah.
Anyway, that's not nearly as bad as the last scene in like the end of the movie.
No.
That
we'll talk about
like,
that too.
We'll
talk about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. So, Brandon gets the axe to the head.
That was upsetting to me.
It was upsetting for me too. I kind of was hoping he would make it to at least the very end. But, this is where he bites it. And Jim pulls him out of the water after he grabs him. Still alive, apparently. And then, he's, shows emotion. Like pure emotion, finally. He's crying because he lost his best friend. And then he calls the hospital to check on Linda. And she's checked herself out because she has now been, after the shower scene, possessed. And when he goes back, you guys, this whole third act is not good. I do not like it at all.
Yeah.
When he goes back and she's wearing the top hat like him,
the hat,
it is hilarious.
It was pretty funny. It's definitely not scary.
No.
I got to tell you one thing though. She looked gorgeous
She looked too
in
good.
that outfit. It
She
kind of
looked
looked
too
like she
good.
was on her way to a Guns N' Roses either concert or
Yeah, your music video shoot. Yeah,
music video shoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
It did not work, and she's like, talking with his voice and her voice, and it just does not work. It just
Yeah.
is super cheesy
And
and
it's just
super
like,
cringe.
not only that, but it's like broad daylight. Like there's nothing like scary.
There's no atmosphere. That's what I was going to say. This movie lacks
Yeah.
any atmosphere.
Yes.
There's like no
I mean, the
atmosphere.
apartment is like tore to shreds, but like besides that, it's like really
It's
not that
pretty-
scary.
It's very flatly lit, this movie. It's very flatly
Yeah.
lit. The
Yeah.
only scenes that have any sort of atmosphere is the shower scene, because of all of the smoke, all the steam creates atmosphere. And I think the shot where we see old Malfeitor is pretty atmospheric, the dream, because it's lit pretty well. But other than that, it's really flatly, like, just brightly lit. You're right, Lydia. Good observation. So,
You know what else doesn't make any sense about this scene? It does
What?
like when the ghost is like trying to be like, no, you're the portal.
oh
I'm
my
like,
god,
why?
yeah.
Yeah.
Why would he be the portal? Like
That
what?
doesn't even make any sense.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
You're right.
And then he's like pointing the gun at his head. I'm like, man, this is terrible. Like
Yeah,
there's no
I was
logic
thinking
behind
so
that
dumb.
at all.
I was thinking that was like a trick. Like,
Oh, it was a trick.
From his
That's what it
perspective?
was.
well, but he did show up at the lake though, where the
He
friend
did
was
show up
like,
at the
"Oh, we have
lake.
no power here because because he can't be that far away from the portal and be that powerful."
Yeah.
So
but
I was like,
don't know
maybe
if
he was.
But he also could have, I don't know, because he could have also traveled through that other Witchboard, right? Because they bought another Witchboard to speak.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
if
Could've been
David
through
could
that.
go to their house and communicate, why can't
Right.
Malfoy
Exactly.
yeah.
And
go
like,
to the other one?
like because Brandon is so sure of every single thing about this paranormal thing that you could not possibly know that much
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. Exactly. He's like the walking exposition machine. But,
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's so stupid. And he's like, no, you are the portal. Shoot yourself. And he's just like, and then we hear the gunshot, and then he's shooting. This ending makes no sense, because earlier Jim literally said, why don't we just burn the board? And he said, well, the board is just a gateway. It has no sway over it. And then at the end, he literally shoots it full of holes, and it defeats it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Maybe Brandon didn't actually know what he was talking about.
Maybe, I guess.
I don't think he fully defeated it though, because we
No.
do get the
I
little-
agree.
But
he
yeah, and
defeated
he
it.
ended, like,
For them. He defeated it for
He's-
them.
yeah.
definitely bought him some time by
But
shooting a couple
it's-
holes in it.
He definitely defeated it from them. So they're moving on
Yeah.
with their lives. But here's the thing. What do you guys think of this effect of the Ouija board spinning in the air and getting shot full of holes?
Oh my gosh. Like a news bulletin, like spinning at the
Extra,
at the
extra.
camera. Seriously. Me and Jake laughed out loud at that.
That's not even the worst part. The worst part is when Jim gets thrown out of the window. Guys.
I
don't
mean,
know,
how
man.
cinematic.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
wanna-
like, here, we're going to attach you to this thing and lower you down, and we're going to not speed it up at all.
Then we're going to put it in this green screen, essentially, is what it was. He's rotoed in.
Yeah.
100% rotoed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he looks like he's rotoed in. And look, I don't want to go too hard on the special effects for a low-budget 1986 horror movie. It
Right,
is what it is.
yeah.
You do what you do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you can fix those things with shot selection, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, there's tons of techniques you could have used to achieve that shot better. It just wasn't very... The execution
Yeah.
wasn't very good.
Yeah, because the idea of it really is like if you were falling backwards out of a window like that, you would feel like it was like at least 10 minutes of falling you know,
Yeah,
like
I
just
think
the adrenaline just slows everything down.
I think the problem with the shot is the staticness of him as he's falling, and
Yeah,
there's not any. You know what I mean? It's
there's no wind.
almost like a cat when a cat falls. Like,
Yeah, there's no wind. Like he's
yeah,
just
there's
like
no elements. Yeah,
slowly. Yeah.
yeah. So there's that. But what do you think of the like? We go from there. It looks like we're at a funeral, which you 100% know it's not from the beginning. Were you guys fooled thinking that this was a
No.
funeral? Yeah, you 100% knew it was the wedding, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it just. And all he has is a neck brace. He's like, "I'm fine, guys."
Yeah.
You know, the twist would have been it actually being a funeral.
Yeah, but they don't want to end it on that. I'm glad
Well,
they ended
and
it like
another
they did.
twist.
I am
Another
too.
twist would have been them getting married in prison because this guy looks like he just committed a lot of murders.
Yeah, a lot of murders. But the cop is there
Yeah.
to vouch for him. That's the thing. The cop
Oh, yeah.
lives,
I just saw
so he's
that.
there to.
That board fly in the
Vouch for
air.
Yeah, or just make up some story. Hey, this guy's clean. They got into a fight. He's not related to any of these. Whatever. But either way, all that goes away. They're happily married, and then we get the landlady going through the apartment, and she sees it, and she's like, "Oh, look, it's a Ouija!" And
The Ouija board.
and they it just zooms in on the yes, that was
Planchette.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, the S and the planchette moves over.
Yep. That's it. That was the ending. What do you guys think of that ending?
Bad. No,
It's
I'm
not
just
the
kidding.
worst ending
It's not that
we've
bad.
ever seen,
No,
but,
no. But
you know, it could have been better.
I thought if the planchette didn't move, it would have been like more like, you know, the Inception ending, kind of like makes you think.
we need to put it on par with this. Did it? We start to see it move, and then it ends. And we're like, 30 years later,
it
we're
just,
still
like,
debating.
starts to-
Did it move or didn't it? No, I think that ending is fine. I mean, if you're setting up sequels or just that it's still out there, that's fine. I don't care about that.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The
it's not
problem is
great.
it's not scary.
No, it's not. The problem is with this whole movie is nothing is scary in it at all.
Yeah,
As a
yeah,
kid,
and it should
I
be.
would not have been terrified of this at all.
Yeah,
I mean, there's two. One is a kind of a jump scare. The other one is a jump scare, but like whenever the stuff falls on what's his face.
Yeah, the
at
sheetrock
beginning.
falls on him. Yeah,
that was pretty scary.
But also the decapitation, like that one, kind of came out of nowhere, and it was a little bit better done. But you're right, like this movie lacks like a
it
scary
lacks
element.
tension.
Really,
It lacks tension.
Yeah.
Right? There's no tension in it.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of flabby. Like it's that middle section is super flabby because not a lot's happening, and the stuff that's happening isn't enough to keep you invested. Because I was like, oh yeah, I found myself wandering or thinking, you know, what would we have done with this concept? You know, which
And, like, when
you'll
she's
kind of
using
see
the board-
eventually what we do with a similar concept at some point, but
Right. When she's like moving when she's talking on the board for like the entire second act of the movie.
yeah, it's just so
she-
long.
Like nothing scary really happens except for like him sneaking up on her, and he sneaks up on everybody.
Yeah, and it's not even like they don't even play it as a jump scare. It's just like
Yeah, it's just like, oh hey,
she's
I'm
like,
real sneaky.
ah, yeah,
She's like, you son of a bitch! Don't ever sneak up on me again.
you motherfucker! Yeah,
Always
starts
cussing at him.
Yeah,
And
it's
when
like
he yells at her, he like yells at her for cussing, and I was like,
well,
listen.
that's early when we still think he might be a serial killer or something because he's fucking
Yeah.
super unpleasant, or like you think he might be abusive or something in the beginning. He's
Yeah.
like,
Lydia,
why are you cussing at me?
I broke these fingers backhanding Quincy because she cussed one time.
Don't you ever cuss
I
again.
broke them.
It's just so weird. Like,
Yeah,
weird
it was
character
weird.
choice. So yeah, that was Witchboard.
It had to happen at least once.
Yep, I forgot.
Yep,
There you are.
and that was Witchboard. What do you guys think?
had fun watching this, honestly.
I did. It was pretty nostalgic, honestly. It took you back to a simpler time, and yeah, I mean the characters kind of grew on you towards the end, and some of them still annoy you even whenever you think about them later. But yeah, you know, all right.
What are you gonna?
I'm ready to throw out a score. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give this movie a mark of the beast.
A 6?
7. No, I'm kidding. It's a 6.
I was gonna say 6 too.
Oh,
Are you
I'm
going
give it a 4.
Is this going to be?
I'm giving it a 4, you guys.
Give it a 4.
A 4. Guys, this movie was...
Jamie did not have fun with this one.
I did not, and I usually like these kind. It didn't hit me, man. It didn't sit with me. I don't think it's the worst movie. I think it's about a 4. Like, it's not quite halfway, but close. I might, maybe on a good day, squeeze it to a 5, but I almost texted you guys and said, are you sure this movie's not spelled Witchbored? Because I was bored watching this.
Yeah, see, I guess I wasn't that bored, but I might change my answer to a 5 just because it really wasn't scary enough. Like,
no, it's not scary.
This movie should have given me chills at some point in the paranormal aspect of the movie, and it did not. It really failed at that. But as weird as these characters were, I couldn't look away.
Yeah, well,
I was more invested in the characters.
She was gorgeous. But
yeah.
And I mean, all the actors did fine for what they were given, and I like Kevin Tenney because I really love Night of the Demons. See, here's the difference. Night of the Demons is also not going to be confused with being a spectacular movie. It suffers from some of these same problems. The difference is Night of the Demons. A lot of shit is happening throughout the whole time, so it never drags. It's always jumping from kind of set piece to set piece, right? But it kind of has the same issues with characterization and dialogue and story, and most importantly, the lack of scares and atmosphere. But I would say that Night of the Demons is more atmospheric and more scary because we get demonic imagery and stuff to scare us. Whereas this one, kind of like, if this movie came out today, if you take the nude scene out, it is 100% like a PG movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like more of a, like it would work more as like a high school drama than like a whatever however old these people are.
Yeah, it feels like it's like Dawson's Creek
like
or something.
Best friends arguing over a girl, kind of.
Yeah.
And then like, oh, let's put a Ouija board in there.
Yeah. So, it's fine. It's not the worst movie we've ever seen, of course, and I'm going to give it a 4. Stick with my 4. I almost moved it up to a 5 to be with you, Lydia, but I was like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Derek, join us down here in the basement.
She gave it the same score I did.
No, I changed mine to a 5. I took mine down a notch.
She's a 5 now.
What?
For lack of scariness.
No, I'm going to stay with a 6. That way we got a 4, 5, 6.
There you go.
Or maybe I'll put it at a 7 to keep the original average.
Don't do it. This movie doesn't deserve to even sniff a 7. And that is Witchboard. It's a fun time. It's okay. We've seen better, and we'll see what we have in store next week. So, it's time to Atkinize Witchboard.
Thrill me.
Who's Tom Atkins going to play? And why would he be a much better Jim?
Yeah.
I mean, he would completely change the dynamic of Jim.
He'd make Jim likable.
He would. He'd make Jim likable. And then you would be like, well, no duh, Brandon. Why did she dump? It's not even a question.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
It'd have to be Jim, because it's either Jim or Brandon.
I know, but he's too good.
Brandon's
he's
not
too good for that one. I know, but he's too good.
He's too good for this movie. Derek, but we had to put him in it. That's the rules.
I know. He could be the cop.
No.
He could be
He could be the cop. He could be eating the lemons. Instead, he could be drinking some beers down there.
he could be the ghost.
Good. But then you'd be rooting for old Malfoy, so maybe.
Malfoy. He keeps calling him Malfoy like he's fucking Draco Malfoy.
Yeah. Yeah, he could be Malfoy, and that would explain why he flew up through those beer cans.
There you go, Lydia.
Malfoy. Jesus. Now that's who he's going to be. We're going to Photoshop old Draco's head onto Malfador's body now. All right, guys. So, next week we should have a special guest. Next week we'll be having an interview with Vandy Inzor. So stay tuned for that one. You can follow us all on Instagram. You can follow us at Screen Bloody Movies. You can follow us online at HiLaProductions.com. Follow us on Facebook at HiLa Productions. Comment down below on what your thoughts were on the terrifying Witchboard. Did you think it was witch entertaining or witch boring? Let me know.
Which one will you pick?
Good one, Derek. You can follow us also on Twitter. You can follow Derek at DDoglyMaster, Lydia at LydiaSpook, and me at Racket. Join us next week for the interview with Vandy Inzor. So if there's nothing else for Derek LeMaster and Lydia Judy, I'm Jamie Hiles. Remember, if you're going to scream bloody movies.